The Land Rover is on the hone. Ta-da! Morning guys and welcome back to Bareham Engines. So as you can see guys, the crank and rods are in the Cosworth now. Just fitted the new oil pump and pickup. Did run into one problem, mind, with this pickup. Now, although it looked a bit grubby, we give it a good clean. So it is thoroughly clean now, but you've got this bar here, which is like a bit of a Heath, what I call a Heath Robinson sort of spray bar here that goes into the top of the pump. Now I blew this through, and this side here, it did go through, you know, quite nice. What I normally do is spray some brake cleaner through there and then see if it comes out at a nice, you know, nice powerful jet. But this side, nothing came out at all. So I sort of cleaned it out, rodded it through, still nothing. So God knows what was in there, whether it was where they brazed it, bit of the braze was inside, I haven't got a clue, but it took some serious rodding to get anything through there. So I shouldn't think for 1 minute that either of these two cooling jets have been working. So yeah, got that working. So that's obviously going to help keep 3 and 4 cool. You've got to look out for things like that. That's why I always say never take anything for granted. We always, although this is a new pump, we always take the lid off, check everything in there, make sure there's no flashing from machining and what have you. So that's all good now. Prime the pump up. When we're fitting these Cosworth pumps, I don't know whether I've ever said anything about this, but bit of a poor design really from Ford. Very quickly before that, just like to thank today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. I'd like to congratulate Raid for celebrating 3 years this month. It's party time, people. Raid Shadow Legends are celebrating their 3rd anniversary as one of the top RPG games out there. But seriously, this game started strong from the very beginning and never slowed down. The thing that really blows my mind is that even after establishing themselves as a leading mobile game, they didn't allow themselves to rest on their laurels and just kept adding new content and game modes every couple of months. Just check out some of the amazing things that happened in the game during those years. An amazing addition to the game is the Doom Tower. This game mode introduces a whole world of new and terrifying bosses to slay. Sprawling over 120 levels, the Doom Tower brought exciting new challenges for seasoned players. As a high-level collection RPG, Raid started with hundreds of unique characters and bosses, but that didn't stop them from adding more and more new champions. The game designers must have had a field day creating these amazing characters. Just check out those sketches, they're awesome. And if adding new characters wasn't enough, last year Raid added a whole new faction. The Shadowkin are a tribe of warriors from the Far East recently liberated from the reign of evil, but that doesn't mean they're the good guys either. For me, they're one of the coolest looking factions in the game. And of course, no review can end without addressing the newest and biggest addition to Raid. I'm talking about the Hydra clan boss. It's without a doubt the biggest, baddest and scariest boss who have ever set foot in Teleria. Although I'm now sure the Hydras even have feet, this monster has multiple heads, each with a different ability and requires a different strategy to destroy. But here's where it gets really challenging. Even if you manage to chop one of the heads, another grows back to replace it. It can be quite discouraging. But on the other hand, this boss gives some of the best artifacts in the game. Honestly, I can keep going on and on about Raid Shadow Legends. It's really the perfect game for all player types. You can take it easy and play casually, but you can also dive in for hours and have an amazing time. No wonder they're celebrating 3 years, and I'm sure they're going to be here for years to come. I invite you all to join the party and download Raid Shadow Legends in the link below. This month, Raid is celebrating its 3-year anniversary, and it's going to be huge. They've got an insane amount of things in store. Raid's kicking things off with free gifts for everyone, then adding in a bunch of new content and events. We're talking new champions, new artifact sets. If that's not enough, they've got a full month of special events and tournaments with some of Raid's best ever prizes on offer, including badass champions, piles and piles of shards, and tons of other goodies. Raid's huge already, and their whole anniversary event makes it an awesome time to join the Raid community. So don't wait around. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you're not playing Raid yet, hit my link in the description and scan my QR code here on the screen. You'll get a special huge birthday package worth $40. We're talking 3 free champions at once. Misericord, Tiger Soul, Romero, plus 10 Magic XP brews, 10 Force XP brews, 10 Spirit brews. That's huge. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. And since it's Raid's birthday, the gifts keep coming. All new and existing players can get a bunch of free birthday gifts worth over $25. Once you're in the game, after clicking on the links, just enter promo code 3YearsRaid to get your hands on everything. Simple. And it's that easy. Just click the link in the description and I'll see you in the game. You've got 2 bolts, one here and one here, that bolt the pump to the block. And as you can see, it wouldn't be so bad if both of these bolts bolted it sort of central, so it sat flat. But because they're both on the right hand side, what can happen if you're not very, very careful, these spray bars here, this oil pickup and the spray bars can sort of push the pump up and off the face of the block here, so you can run lower oil pressure. Had that before, and I've seen it before when we stripped engines. So what we normally do is put the pump on first, stick a torch down the back there and make sure there's no light that comes through that gap. Then we put the pickup pipe on afterwards, and we sort of jigger it a little bit, so when you bolt down here it sort of pulls the pump into the block, and that way you can assure that it's going to be fitting a nice face to face down there. But you've got to be very careful of that. Also, what you've got to be careful of is when you fit the ARP 2000 bolts, they do sit higher than the standard bolts, and you've got to be very careful here that they don't touch on the pickup pipe. What we've had before is if they run, even if they run very, very close, like sort of 0.5 mil clearance, you think, well, that'll be okay, it's not touching. But when you put the pump on, we've had it where the sump, we've had it where the sump pushes the pipe down slightly, and that will hit on the pipe, and it'll sound like it's done a big end. So what we normally do, you're all right on this side, but here we normally just put a very slight sort of dink in the, just press a very slight sort of dent into this pipe, and then you make sure you've got lots of clearance. Doesn't affect the oil flow whatsoever. Just put a very light little sort of nick in there. But apart from that, we sort of got the front seal covers on the auxiliary and on the crank there. Next step with this one, we're going to get the sump on, turn it upside down, and then we're going to get the cylinder head on. Now those exhaust studs should arrive today, so then we can get the exhaust manifold on. But I'd like to get the exhaust manifold on before I put the head on, because you've got some nuts under here which are a bit tricky, and while the head's off you may as well do that really. Make sure nothing goes Pete Tong with one of the threads. If the head's off, it's sort of easier to sort it out with the head off really. So as it happens, the studs have just turned up, and so we've got that exhaust manifold on there. You see we've got some lovely nuts and washers to go on there, on the bottom there, so we can get that on. Head will be on tomorrow. Unfortunately guys, today is mainly going to consist of me waffling on a bit, and that is only because it's Monday. Last week we had a good sort out. As I say, we've managed to get everything a sort of work in progress, nothing sitting about now. So I just want to keep you guys up to date and let you know what is going on and the situation with each of the engines really. As I said at the beginning of this video, Nick, the customer of these, the owner of these Land Rover blocks, will be pleased to know that we've got these on the hoe now, and John is about to start on this one. This one here is the one that's going to need the liner, so I'm going to set about that one. But I did have some of you guys comment, and quite rightly so. You said, you know, how can you sort of crack on with other stuff and have these sitting here for 6 or 7 weeks? You're absolutely right. Nick's been more than patient, so we are going to set about them now. We, as I said to you in the last video, we do not like to make a habit of sort of having things sitting around for weeks on end. It's only because all this work that's flooded us is sort of new, and we've had to get all sorted. We've never ever done this before, so we are cracking on with this now. Last week and the week before, we've got rid of a few jobs that either one, you're probably better off getting someone else, like a general engineers, to do, or two, we're just not going to get to it and the customer's getting a bit impatient. So that's fair enough. We've just rang them up and said, look, you may as well have them back. If you want us to do them, bring them down at a later date when we're going to get to them. But this really is the last one that's left that's been sitting here. So now we've got that up there, and we're going to crack on with that this week. I'm happy now that everything in here we are, you know, getting on with. So yeah, lesson learnt. Not going to take things in that we're just not going to get to, or if we, you know, if we do, then we're going to be completely honest with the customer. It's more than, you know, you're more than welcome to leave it here, but it may be here for several weeks. So then it's on their head be it. XKR Jag. So this is the XKR that we're doing over at Stewart's, and as you can see, we've just decided to take the engine out. This was really all was left anyway by the time they got everything off it to get the heads off. I mean, it was stupid things really, like to get the cover, to get the front cover off, you've got to remove all the aircon system down here to get it. I think it was this bolt or something stupid like that. So I said to Pete over there, look, you may as well just undo all the gearbox bolts, undo the engine mounts, and just take the thing out. I mean, nothing's going to be done as it is like this anyway. And we got the bores down here, as you can see, yeah, over there. You've got some what looks like molten aluminium at the top of that bore, and again in this one here. There's a couple of little lines that, like this one here, but you actually, if you run your fingernail over them, you can't feel anything. So I'm suspecting at this point, I have spoke to the customer and I've said, look, I'm suspecting by molten aluminium up there, you've probably got a couple of dodgy injectors, which means the rest of them aren't brilliant. It's at the sort of mileage where if it hasn't been serviced very well, these injectors could be starting to go down anyway. So I'm suspecting that is what it is. The only problem he's got is, I said, look, the only way we would get involved with this particular bottom end, you can't bore it. We've priced up the bits that we can get. We can get all the shell bearings at standard. They're all colour coded anyway, so I expect they're genuine from our supplier. You got the pistons and ring sets, which are original genuine. We can get those. So if the bores measure okay, which I expect they probably will, the only thing we can do here is drop the sump, get the pistons and rods out, deglaze or hone the bores, see if we can remove this material and get a decent finish on there, obviously without removing any material, and replace all the, providing the crank's okay and the rods are okay, that is, replace all the crank bearings, put new pistons and rods down the holes, new pistons and rings down the holes, and sort of give it back to Stuart to assemble. We've obviously got the cylinder heads over there, which we've got to go through, or we would have had to go through anyway, and then replace all the bits he needs to replace. So I've sent him an estimate for doing that work. Stuart's bill over there, you know, you're going to be well into a sort of week's work there. Stuart's, I don't want to build the engine up. You know, I said that we won't build the engine up if we're not reborn it, etc. So that's as far as we'll go, but we'll have a disclaimer on that. Stuart said we need to replace all the tensioners and the belts, etc. The supercharger needs to be redone, rebuilt, but we can get an exchange one of those. He needs new injectors, so 8 new injectors I've sent him an estimate for, 8 new spark plugs, all that sort of jazz, obviously all filters, all the rest of it. But he's, you know, he's looking with our bill, he's looking well on the way to £9,000. So that's with the VAT, but is it worth it? I mean, I do not know what the car's worth, whether it's got any sentimental value, or, you know, it's one of those really where the car's worth bugger all as it is. But to do anything with is going to cost you that sort of money. And we as I say, I have phone calls daily with vehicles like this that are sort of worth a few quid done, but nothing as they are, and they're going to cost, you know, way more than sort of 50% of the value of the car to get back to as it should be. So it's one of them, guys, you know, where do you go? I'm going to leave the decision up to him. I've sent that estimate over, so we'll see what comes of it. Thanks ever so much for watching, guys. Really sorry we haven't seen much machining going on today or building. We'll be back Wednesday with another one. I'll show you some processes from there on. But thanks ever so much for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, hit that notification bell, and we will see you in another one. Cheers, guys.